Thank you so much, everybody. I'm your cruise host, Jason, and thanks for joining me for another edition of All Access Pass. Today, I have the esteemed honor of welcoming into that chair one of the greatest to ever do it, one of the greatest to ever hold a whistle, a playbook, or lace them up. Do me a favor, please welcome legendary coach Barry Switzer. Chickens! Let's not digress into that already.
Get it over with.
How are you, Coach? How are you?
Great, Jason. It's always great to see you. I don't know how many people here have been all 7 trips. I haven't. I've been all 6.
Yeah, you've been on 6.
After the first one, and I always enjoy being with you and your lovely wife, who was up here on stage with me. I preferred her sitting there.
Listen, I do too. Yeah, I agree.
She probably knows as much football too as you do.
Yeah, she probably does. She's learned a lot. I tell you what, she learned. She didn't know anything. She's Canadian. She knew nothing about football. But I love fantasy football. I played college and and so she started learning through me, and now she plays on her own.
Right.
She has her own team. She's the most competitive human I've ever met in my life. And that includes all the athletes and the coaches I've ever known. So I don't disagree with you.
I've never played fantasy football. Anyone here, raise your hands. You play fantasy football?
Out there? A few of you?
There's a few guys that do. That's amazing. Yeah.
It's a big business. It's a real big business. So before we get too far into all the stuff we're going to talk about, why don't you give these folks a little rundown on who Coach Switzer is? Tell us a little bit about your coaching past.
I go back a long way. In fact, I was a couple of weeks ago. We had the national championship game. It was played 150 years of college football. The first game was played in 1869. It was Rutgers, Princeton. And then, obviously, 100 years of football was 1969. That was the anniversary. I happened to be coaching during that period of time. I was playing before that. And then college at the University of Arkansas. Then obviously, it's 150 years this year of college football. So they had a big celebration. They invited, in fact, Reese Davis, I went down and did a panel 2 weeks ago in New Orleans. I went down I didn't stay for the game, but I was on a panel. Reese Davis was sitting there, Tim Tebow, Desmond Howard, Herschel Walker, then Archie Griffin, and me. And Reese
Just
Davis,
a little bit of talent.
Yeah, there's a little bit. Especially 4 of them. But Reese Davis asked me why I was the only coach. And I said, well, I guess it's because they either played or coached in the 150 years of college football, and that's why I was there. And I said, really, the truth is, I'm probably the only guy that's not in a nursing home or doesn't have dementia that can have on the show, my age. But we had a great time. It was a great evening. And when they turned the lights back on, because when you sit up here, as you know, it's hard to see people's faces and know who's in the audience.
Yeah.
And, hell, I didn't know how many coaches were out there when I was sitting up there. And there was a lot of guys that are on the selection committee for the bowls and the national championship playoff and all that. So I got the chance after it was over with to visit with all those guys. Hadn't seen them in years. Had coached a couple of them. But here I started playing football in the mid-50s, or early actually the 40s, in El Dorado, Arkansas. 6th grade I started, and went on from there. Moved to Crossett, Arkansas, a little town south of Arkansas. Graduated high school there. I was going to go to LSU, actually. Charlie McClendon was a assistant coach for Paul Dietzel, and he was trying to recruit me to come play at LSU. Hell, Huey P. Long built bigger highways than they did in Arkansas, and they really wider highways. It was 6 hours quicker to get to Baton Rouge than it was to Fayetteville. This is back before they had interstates, and you had to stop every 15 miles going through towns to get anywhere. You know what it's like. And so hitchhiked everywhere. It's when you could hitchhike. Even women hitchhiked. Sorority girls hitchhiked, and they always got picked up. And I got left standing there in the
I'm
dust.
sure they did. Yeah.
Yeah, but I went to University of Arkansas as a 17-year-old. Graduated business degree. Had to serve my country. Thank you. And
thank you.
I went into service. I think that was obviously an era that everyone was drafted. You're 1A if you graduated high school. You either go into service, you better go to college. So most kids were motivated to go to college. So I did that and got out of the service. I was going back to law school at the University of Arkansas, and Frank Broyles, my coach, who had been my coach the past 2 years. He had come from Missouri in '57. And I had captained his team in '59. It's my senior year, and we had won the Southwest Conference Championship, and we played against his alma mater, Georgia Tech, Bobby Dodd, in the Gator Bowl. And that's back when they only had eight bowls. You know, they didn't have a lot of bowls back then. And I played in the Gator Bowl,
games,
in '59, and then got in coaching because Frank asked me to. He said, "Hell, you go to law school next year if you don't like coaching." So we know how that worked out. So I spent my life in coaching, coached through the '60s, '70s, '80s, and '90s. Been around good people. The only thing that makes things happen good, people always ask what the keys to success is. I want to tell you something. I have several things I believe in, but first of all, you have to have talent and ability within not only your squad, your players, but the people you surround yourself with. And it takes all of us. It's not an I and a me game. It's a we and an us. And there's enough credit for everybody going around if you get the job done. And I've always had that philosophy. I've always been a guy that never coached out of fear or threatening or that. I was always a positive attitude. I busted my ass harder when a coach said nice things to me or complimented me on the job I was doing. And I'd bust my rear end, hell for him. And so I always had that attitude. Coaches around me had trained me that way, so I've always stuck with that. I've known guys that try to coach out of fear and all that, but I've been in the coaching profession all my life. I enjoy it. It's the greatest profession there is because it's not just about winning games. In college, in high school, it's totally different. Pro football. Pro football, Jason, is about getting to a Super Bowl, which is coming up this weekend. And that's the biggest sports stage there is in sports, the biggest stage in sports without a doubt. But pro football is about one thing, and is getting to the Super Bowl, and there's 32 teams vying, and I promise you, the guys bust their rear end. Pro football players are highly motivated. The 53rd guy on the squad's making $500,000. He's making more money he'll ever make the rest of his life. He knows that there's someone out there, if he doesn't bust his rat, cover the kickoff, bring it back. Someone's waiting on the waiver wire. His ass is going to be on waiver wire, pumping gas in Georgia next day, $8 an hour, if he doesn't do the things that the coaches ask of him. So it's really highly, they're all highly motivated to keep that job. So college game and high school game is totally different. We're about developing young men and women to be productive citizens next 40, 50, 60 years of living. And we spend more time with them off the field than we ever do on the field. And I really tell my players, I said, all these coaches around this room here, all these assistant coaches, you'll learn more from them. Any damn book you ever carry to class on campus, and any professor who talks to you, you'll learn more from these guys about life. They'll carry you on and give you a better chance to be successful. Because you won't get a grade for it. It won't be on your transcript. It'll never be anything that anyone will know other than you and what they transmit to you that allow you to be successful. And I've always believed that. And our coaches, that's what coaching is really about, because I get more calls from my players. Coach is probably the most, most of the kids I recruited the last several years of being in college were from single-parent homes. Men are cowards. They run off and leave, and the mama's there, and she can't run off. She's got 2 jobs, and there's a kid at home, and, he doesn't have a dad. And the coach becomes the most important male figure in his life. And I've always said, when I recruit a kid, I've got him for life. And I really mean that. And they still call me today. I promise you, they know I meant that, because my phone is full of all my ex-players, and they call all the time to say hello, and just not to ask for something, but just the relationship of it. But if they do need help, I know which ones need help, and I'll do everything I can help them. That's what coaching is really all about. Now, pro football, not one damn thing. They're 7 o'clock in the morning, leave at 7:30 in the afternoon. You hope you never see them again till the next morning, 7 o'clock. And you hope they bust their rear ends for you, and they will, and you hope you play well enough till you do get to the Super Bowl. I coached 25 years ago. It's hard to believe, Jason. 25 years ago, this year is the last time the Cowboys, my cheerleaders sitting here in front of us, we won a Super Bowl. And I was looking at some statistics. Just the other day, and someone had a capsule in there that said, my first 3 years in pro football, we were 34-14 regular season. We were 5-2 in playoffs. We won more playoff games than they have won the last 25 years in that 3-year period of time we were there. So I inherited a good team put together by Jerry and Jimmy. I coached both Jimmy and Jerry at Arkansas. I had a great relationship with both of them. People don't know the history of all that. How come I got to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Jerry Jones was my friend. I coached him. I was his coach. He from Arkansas. I'm from Arkansas. He made his fortune in the oil and gas business in the state of Oklahoma. I was the head coach when he was there. We socialized together. And when he bought the Cowboys for $140 million, worth about $4 billion today, but he hired Jimmy, who happened to be his roommate in college. So it made all the sense in the world. But I was on the short list. There was only two of us, Jimmy and me. And so when he fired Jimmy's ass, he hired me. So that was how it worked. How it went.
Well, that's our 30 minutes, friends. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. So let's jump into the two. We'll jump into one question first. Dallas Cowboys, current state, obviously. Jason Garrett, how do you feel about the Cowboys and their moves right now?
Listen, first of all, Wade Phillips had the greatest line that I've ever, one of the greatest lines. His dad had a lot of, Bum Phillips had a lot of great one-liners in his career. But Wade made a comment when he got fired at the Buffalo Bills years ago, 25 years ago. He made the comment, he said, I'd really be worried about it if they only fired bad coaches, they fire good coaches all the time. There's not a coach in the league that doesn't have on his resume fired somewhere. It's just that type of game. It's a suitcase game. And you have to do this, and I knew Jerry had to do it at some point in time. Yeah. If you don't have success, the only chance when you got 53 kids on your men on your squad, you got to rejuvenate them, recharge them some way, and the game's played from the neck up. And and making them believe in some other way can be successful. If you keep failing, and not getting there, they got to believe in something else. And I think coaches, owners, general managers have to make that decision. So we all understand that. We're all big boys, and we know that.
What do you think about Garrett going to the Giants as an OC?
Well, I think that's probably good. He was a quarterback. He played when I was there. Yeah, well, and his dad, who's deceased, was a great friend of mine. I saw someone in Cleveland Brown jersey on a minute ago. Yeah, Cleveland Brown. Jason Garrett's dad coached at the Cleveland Browns and coached one of my great players. Greg Pruitt was a, great running back at Cleveland. But he probably will fit in good there. I think I look at the game today and pro game is that colleges have given more to pro football than pro football ever is given to the college game. We really have. You look around the league today, all they're doing is running the college offenses. They're getting the college quarterback.
More and more,
running the quarterbacks. They're running the college playbook and having damn good success with it. And
spread the field wide.
Oh, yeah, isolating people. And the game has changed. Hell, when I played, everybody was tight. All 11 people lined up here tight, two tight ends and backs and back behind them. And hell, everybody got tight on defense. If anyone split out wide out there, someone say, hell, that's a trick. Don't go with him. That's the way you cover it. You point to cover him. You know what I mean? It's so that era has changed. That was an era, you remember, that you could win 3-0, 6-0, 7-0. You ran on first down and you maybe threw the ball on second down.
You had a tight script.
You quick kicked on third down more than you ever threw passes, and you played field possession.
Tight script.
Yeah, it was a different era, 14-7. If you really beat someone 28-0, that was really a butt kicking back in those days. So.
And what about the new Cowboys head coach?
Here's another guy that's been fired before a couple places, but he's a damn good football coach. And I like Mike when I was in the league. He's been around a long time, and Holmgren was at the Packers when I was in the league, and I was 5-1 against Holmgren, and which I had a pretty good run against all of them back in that era. Secret, George with San Francisco. I saw a San Francisco jersey here too. He beat my ass more than I beat him. So, but they had great.
Coach
teams
isn't
back
competitive at all, by the way. No competitive nature here.
It's. I really feel bad. I wished I had won. If we'd won the Super Bowl my first year, we won it my second year. But if we'd won it my first year, I would never coach the third year. I would have hung it up there and said, Jerry, told me when I came here, 500 guys, coaches could win a Super Bowl with this team. And I said, that means there's 499 out there left. Go get you one. Well, he's never found that one since I've left. But I kind of wish that's how it played out, but it didn't. But anyway.
So we do have a big game coming up. Big game coming up. Niners and the Chiefs and offense.
Right. Two good
offense
teams.
viewed as unstoppable versus a tough defense.
It's a 1-point game. Someone told me the other day. You know, I think the Chiefs 1-point favorite. Someone said that.
Yeah.
You know,
Chiefs are 1.5 now.
Yeah, it's how the game's played. In that 60 minutes will determine how it come of the game. I promise you. They got the great quarterback. He's from my league, Big 12.
Mahomes.
I watched him play. Mahomes is a hell of a player. He's a kid, Texas kid, right outside Tyler.
Did you know it when you saw him in college? Did you know it then?
Hell yeah! I saw him never run the ball through 80-something times one night against Baker Mayfield. Him bat about 1,000 yards each that night.
I remember that game, actually, yeah.
He broke Drew Brees' record. He had in Indiana most passes thrown in a ball game. I watched that game that night, and I thought he was really damn good then. And, of course, he has got all the talent in the world, and he is really a good player, and he's running the college game. He's doing well. And the other thing, I'm kind of torn between. I like him, but Kyle Shanahan is the son of Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan coached for me at Oklahoma. Mike was my offensive quarterback coach in 75 and 76. I gave him his first job. He came out of Eastern Illinois. I hired him. He was on my staff. He was single at the time. And he always dated good-looking sorority girls and bring them to the parties after our game. We had a lot of victory parties back then, so he was bringing a lot of them.
When you're winning, it's easy.
I remember Shanahan. So Mike, I got a kick out because I texted him. I said, my phone right here. You might have seen that shot of him smiling up in the press box. If the camera went on him just a second, Mike up there, and I wrote him real quick. I said, what the hell are you smiling about? And he said, one more to go. So. So I'm kind of torn there. I don't know Kyle because he wasn't born when Mike was with me at Oklahoma. But I've had that great relationships with Mike Shanahan.
If you remove your personal views of it, just from a purely football standpoint, what do you think is going to happen in that game?
Well, it's hard to believe you only throw the ball 9 times in pro football, win it and dominate a game like they did last week.
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco. And that quarterback, I never heard of the damn guy before. He's a backup, New
England.
New England.
Yeah, sat behind Brady.
He didn't get to play any. No one knew anything about him. But the running back has been in the league about 7 times. He's been with about 7 different people. But I'm going to tell you, I told Mike, I texted Mike, too, this after the game. He said, Mike, my impressions of watching the game, I thought San Francisco's offensive line is very similar. They have the quickness and the athleticism that your lines possessed when you were at Denver because he ran Terrell Davis in that stretch offense where everybody man on man, they took good splits, and the backs found their crack going north and south and ran the ball. Their offensive line is like that. They come off very quick. They wallered damn Green Bay up, and Green Bay's a big physical defensive line, but they got on them quick, and they walled off the backside for the backside cuts. They did a great job of doing some things in the game that really gave the back an opportunity to make some good things happen.
I think there's going to be you kind of have a big showdown, right? Because the San Francisco defense has been pretty dominant this year across the board. Bosa up front, Buckner up front.
More so than Kansas City, obviously. Yeah.
But I think the Kansas City defense has been a little overlooked, but it's really going to be San Fran's defense versus Kansas City's offense is what most people are saying. Do you want to venture so far as to make a prediction?
No, I want to look forward to enjoying the game. I never predict football. I'm the worst at predicting. College coaches or any coach is terrible at predicting games. I know this. The team that makes the fewest mistakes is probably going to win the damn thing. You know what I mean? And, throw interceptions, put the ball around, fumbles. Kansas City should have been the damn Super Bowl last year.
Yep.
That kid, they really got screwed out of that one. So I was hoping they would get to this one. And of course, 49ers, they're always, since Steve Young was there, I mean, they haven't really been back to that level. Now they're kind of back to that level. And Kyle Shanahan's doing a great job with him.
That was a very Bill. Have you ever heard Bill Walton comment on NBA basketball games? I love Bill Walton simply for the fact that So, Bill, who do you think is going to win? Well, I think the team that scores the most buckets is going to win the game. Yeah, thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you, Bill.
Most points. Most
yeah.
buckets.
Whoever has the most points is going to
Yeah.
win the game. That's a good call.
But it comes down to a team that makes the fewest mistakes. You make the fewest mistakes, you probably win the
Especially in
ball
a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, I did open it up. As people entered, they could write down some questions for you. So
Okay.
I'll have them wave their hands at you. Penny, all the way from Tarpon Springs, Florida, right in the front, right there. Is that a what jersey you wearing? It's Buccaneers jersey there.
Buccaneers.
Is that Allstott? Allstott, yeah. When we were good, she said.
Hey, you know who the first Buccaneer was? Who's the first Buccaneer player? 1976. Leroy Selman. Yeah, he played for me. He was the first. Leroy's first player picked in the draft. And I got to bring this up. When the Selman brothers played for me at Oklahoma, I'm going to damn sure bring this up. It came out, Lincoln Riley. Hey, Lincoln Riley, they had, I think it was someone tweeted out here before the playoffs and all, Lincoln Riley had coached 34 games at Oklahoma, and he was 30-4. And I got to thinking back when I'd coached 34 games. Hell, I was 32-1-1 in 2 national championships and 2 undefeated seasons, and making $24,000 a year. That's so much makes $6 million.
He makes that a quarter.
He makes $6 million a year. They talk about reparations. I think that's the damn football coaches ought to get that. But, really, I hear them all talk about. Hey, let's go back gate. I've been cheated out of something here too, but. But Leroy Selman played when the Selman brother played for me at Oklahoma. We were 54-2-1 in 2 national championships and won 38 games in a row without a defeat.
There you go.
With Selman's, yeah.
Penny wants to know what year and with which team was your favorite? Was it college or pro, or do you have a favorite year of coaching?
College. A college game is so much better than the pro game. Really.
Do you remember a specific year that you enjoyed the most?
Oh yeah, my '74 team was That's my first national championship team. We were back to back. We won at '75 too. But my '74 team, I had 8 defensive starters, including the Selman brothers. I had 8 of my defensive starters started in the NFL. That's how good they were. So. It was, I had the Selmans, I had Rod Shope started for New England Patriots, Jimbo Elrod for Kansas City Chiefs, Randy Hughes for the Dallas Cowboys, Tony Peters, strong safety for the Washington Redskins, Clyde Powers as a cornerback, was captain of the Giants defensive team. And so I had a hell of a bunch of players.
That's
really
fantastic.
Good players.
To say he doesn't care about his players, you can tell right now how much the coach cares about every single player, whoever suited up for him. Gene, who comes to us, I think that says New York. New York there, Gene? Got it. What do you think of college players playing a 5th year now instead of going pro? I'm assuming you're kind of looking at the transfer portal and the whole 9 yards. What do you think? What do you think about the transfer portal?
Well, hell, most of them don't even play 5. They're out 3. Most players with the pro game today. But I like the portal, but the portal only helps those elite teams around the country.
Yeah.
They only help the elite teams.
Someone who can recruit.
Really, yeah, right.
Yeah.
The kids are usually pretty good players, and they want to get on the field. They're all wanting to get to pro football. They want a chance to play, and they're not playing where they are, but they were highly recruited. Obviously, the Floridas, the Ohio States, the Alabamas.
Burrow at LSU this year.
Yeah, I can't say. And therefore, where are they going to go? They're not going to go to Western Kentucky. They're going to go to Oklahoma. They're going to go to LSU, or they're going to go to Alabama. They're going to go to Georgia. They're going to go to the top programs in the country that they think that they need a quarterback at those top programs is all they lack. So the portal really only helps the better get better.
Are you familiar with Malcolm Perry down at Navy?
Who?
Malcolm Perry over at Navy.
The coach?
No, the quarterback.
No, Navy. He'd be a wishbone quarterback. They run the damn option. No, I don't know him.
Okay.
I don't hardly ever watch academies. That I like them. Because they do run the option game, and I'm always interested in them doing that.
I apologize to this person, but I cannot read your name. I think it might be Ralph. Ralph Ann.
There's one of the cheerleaders.
Ralph Ann. It's not because I can't read the letters.
They are all cheerleaders when I was at the Cowboys. We were all on the sidelines together.
I'm going to ask Ralph Ann to write in capital letters from now on, just so I can. Do you still live in Norman?
I live in Norman. I live on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. I live right across the street from the Pi Phi and the Tri-Out House, a couple of fraternities. I don't know who in the hell they are and don't care. But
you just want to go to the parties. Yeah.
I walk my dogs. I've got 6 dogs at home, and I walk them on my campus. And if y'all got any dog lovers here, let me tell you, I've got 6 dogs at home, and I've got 25 in a kennel out in Tuttle, Oklahoma, that are training to be search and rescue dogs. My dogs, you know, people rescue dogs. My dogs rescue people. Natural disaster or man-made disasters, we give them to first responders. We match them up with first responders, and, you know, fire departments and all, and FEMA task forces. And my dogs are about 9 different states around the country now.
That's awesome.
It's if you want to go to the website, it's groundzerosaveslives.com. Groundzerosaveslives.com. Go on my website and see all the dogs that I have. I go out there all the time with those, and it's really neat. Dogs are amazing animals. They can do things that humans can't do, or a robot or a machine. Sorry to get off that.
No, you're good, Coach. We haven't been on tangent all day. Let's not start now. Ty from Orange County says, do you still ever talk with Jerry Jones?
Yeah, I do. In fact, I was on the field for the Viking game. The Minnesota Vikings played there a month or half ago, and I went down for that game and went on the field and talked with Jerry. I went down for one reason, is that Mike Zimmer is coaching Minnesota. And Mike Zimmer, I hired in '94 and gave him his first job. He was at Washington State. I hired him at the Cowboys, and he's a good coach and did a good job, and I hadn't seen him since. And I want to let him know that if you get to the Super Bowl, you still owe me Super Bowl tickets, because I gave him a bunch of because he wasn't making much money, and I gave him 6 of my Super Bowl tickets. I know what he did with them. He sold them about $2,000 a piece.
Talked him, yeah.
And so I feel like he owes me. If you get to the damn Super Bowl, I want Super Bowl tickets.
Give him up. Dunk all the way from Georgia. What was your greatest satisfaction when coaching the college boys?
Relationships. You know, we won a lot of championships, won a lot of games, won a lot of bowl games, conference championships, national championships. But the relationship with players is the key thing. It's really, that's what it's really all about. I mean, like I said earlier, you spend more time with them off the field than you ever do on the field. You spend 4 or 5 years with them. Hell, you get to know these kids. They are an extension of your family, and they're a huge part of it. So we rely on each other, and we're always there for each other. I'll give you an example of how the difference is. When we won the Super Bowl in '95, the next year, '96 season, 15 of the players that were on the Super Bowl team couldn't make the team the next year. And therefore, I don't know where they are today. I can't even name you their names and who they were. If you showed me a picture of this '95 Super Bowl, I would say, I don't remember him. I don't really remember him. I remember him playing. I remember Noah. That's his name. I remember him. But I haven't seen him since. I have no relationship with him.
Well, it's a business,
just
right?
It's a business. It goes back to the point I was making. Yeah. It's a damn big business, and he was trying to make it with someone else. Couldn't make it with us because of our draft choices and our free agents and all. We were better than that, so we had to cut them. And it always hurt me to cut players. I really did. I always I would have a player come in. Some guys just say, send the playbook in, don't worry. But I always talk to the guys about going back and getting their education. I would be level with them whether I thought they could play in the game, play in this league or not. And but needed to get their education, go back to school where they were, let them know what we'd help them with any way we could make it happen.
That's fantastic. Charlie, also from Georgia. This is an interesting question. What was, in your memory, one of your or several of your most difficult decisions as a head coach?
Well, I say the worst decision I ever made as a head coach. There's 2 of them. In 1995, we were getting ready to play Michigan, Bo Schembechler, in Orange Bowl for the national championship. And we beat their ass anyway, but I had...
Got to get that in for the story.
there was a kid, a hell of a player, named Horace Ivory, and he started at tailback for the New England Patriots about 5 or 6 years. He was playing fullback for me, and I had a bunch of number 1 draft choices in my backfield, and he's a really good player, a starter. Well, he was in his dorm room with his girlfriend 15 minutes after curfew. Well, I had a young coach that jumped on his butt by his girl being there. You know the rules, and, and they got in a kind of a scuffle, So I got to back my coach, and all my coaches said, "You got to back your coach. You got to back your coach." And I said, "What do you mean I got to back him?" He said, "Well, you need to discipline this kid." I let those damn coaches make me kick the kid off the team. And all I thought about how stupid that was. Here's a kid, he's a good kid all year long, been a great player for me. I didn't let him go to Orange Bowl. And it was just because of the girl in the room for 15 minutes. It didn't make sense. So that was a dumbass mistake on my part. So I always said, do not make emotional decisions. Wait and sleep on it overnight. So don't let anyone talk you into it. Hey, let me look at it fresh from tomorrow after I sleep about it and think about it a while. If I'd done that, I would never kicked him off. But the biggest mistake I ever made in my career, professional career, coaching, was Marcus Dupree. Marcus Dupree was probably the best back or best player I ever recruited. He was the best that never was. Well, let me tell you, if he'd stayed 4 years, he would have been on this national championship team in '85. Might have won the Heisman, might have been the first player picked off that team. And but I ran him off in the first year there because I was too tough on him, because he was the best player the moment he hit the field at Oklahoma. He was a starter about the 3rd day. And but you know what? When he ran with the ball, he was unbelievable. When he didn't have the ball, he was terrible. I mean, he just didn't do the things. And for him to be able to step in the huddle and be a starter with 11 guys, another 10 guys in there, that they've busted their ass, some of them for 3 years, to be able to make the team and start, and all the price that they had paid to be a starter. And here a guy that's so naturally talented that allows him to play right away. He'd never been pushed. He'd never been a demand on him in his life. Never been. Everything came too easy for him.
Sure.
And that's but I was too tough on him. And I called him to the side. I called him in my office. I said, "Marcus, I'm gonna eat your ass out every time you don't follow through, you don't block, you don't carry out your assignment. And all those other players are looking at me to look at what I do about you. And I'm gonna promise you, I've got 100, 200 other guys out there that look at me. I would do that to them. So I'm gonna have to do that to you." And I was really tough on him, and he regretted it. We're great friends today, and he says, "I regretted it." But here, 19 years old, he's in pro football. And I'm going to tell you the other thing. Here, I want to stay with him. He did something that was impossible. When people say the biggest, they talk about Tiger Woods came back, won the Masters this year, is the biggest comeback in sports and all that. I said, bullshit. I said, if you had asked a coach, a college coach, a pro coach, a scout, anybody that knows the game, and say that you can be out of pro football for 5 years, never put on another uniform or anything, and all of a sudden make a decision, I'm going to go back and play in the NFL, you can't do it. It's not impossible. You cannot do it. But damn, he did it. He went back, got worked out in the damn hot gym. He had no coach. He was motivated himself. No one to rely on. He paid a tremendous price, got that body back down to 240, looked like Adonis, and he went and played 3 years for the Los Angeles Rams in the NFL. That's impossible. But by God, he did it. Yeah.
Did you ever reconnect with the first player you mentioned, the player that got in the scuffle?
Oh, yeah. I apologized to him years later. He didn't hardly come back. He got in pro football, and he was from Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Nolan High School, and he came back for one time. I had an opportunity to talk to him. I really apologize. He was over it by then, but he was hurt by it, and I was hurt by it too, because it was a dumbass, and I told him I was wrong.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, Coach. Here's a change of pace for you. Neil from New York, what are your feelings about soccer?
I don't know why you're laughing. I want to tell you something. I want to tell you, soccer athletes, I promise you, if you take those guys and time them in the 40-yard dash, they'd be fast as any receivers in the NFL. They have great speed and great quickness. They can turn it on. When they turn it on, they're rockets. Now, they don't have to do that all the time because they spread the field and they get a little rest. But when they got to go in that spurt, they can fly. And they are great athletes. I was in Madeira, Spain. I went on did a cruise last year, other than country cruise. That I had a daughter, stepdaughter, that was Oklahoma major theater major at Oklahoma, and she was on the Norwegian cruise line. She was one of the singers, dancers, and all that. And we went to Barcelona and did a cruise in the Mediterranean, and we went on around outside to Portugal. We went to Madeira, Portugal. Hell, I didn't know Ronaldo's from there. You get off the damn boat, you got a gigantic statue, 50 feet high, of Ronaldo on that little last island there in Portugal. Really. Yeah, but I have, you watch, they're great athletes. So the game is a great game. I like it. It's a great sport, but I admire the athletes that have.
Absolutely. So listen, that's our 30 minutes. Here's the deal. That's our 30 minutes for All Access Pass. So we're going to wrap the TV show. But for all of you live here in the studio, if you want to hang out a few minutes, we're still going to chat with the coach. So we're not going to let him go just yet. I know there's some more questions out there. But we are going to wrap the TV show aspect of this. Everybody, though, is going to help me, whether you're staying or going, to help me thank this man right here for being a part of All Access Pass, Coach Barry Switzer.
I want to say thank you, Jason, and to Mike Jason for having me a part of this and always inviting me. I bring a bunch of my hooligans back here, y'all know. I bring Larry, Moe, and Curly.
Pound back there, yeah.
And back here, and I cannot believe they were civil today. I mean, they were quiet.
They behaved themselves for the most part.
But
yeah. All right, everybody, tune in again for the next All Access Pass.